Hello everyone, my name is Abraham. Welcome so much into my Swahili class. Today we are going to have a look on how negative present tense works. And before we proceed, I would like to introduce to you the positive subject prefixes in Swahili. If you haven't watched my video on how to construct a sentence in Swahili, please don't forget to look or to watch on my previous video, which I explained on how to construct a meaningful sentence in Swahili. Let us start with the positive subject prefixes in Swahili. So ni stand for I, u stand for you, a stand for he or she, tu stand for we, I mean me and you, and the stand for you but the plural, so you all, and wa stand for they. And because we are learning today the negative, here are the negative subject prefixes. Because in Swahili, in order to make a negative a negative sentence, you also need to use the negative subject prefixes. This is very important. So these are the negative subject prefixes in Swahili. So si stand for I, but in a negative way. Hu stand for you. Ha stand for he or she. And hatu stand for we, I mean me and you. Ham, this stand for you, plural, but don't forget negative subject prefixes. And hawa stand for they. And before we proceed, when or while you're constructing a sentence in Swahili, you need the tense, but only in this special case, which is the negative tense, you don't need tense. That's why here I wrote nothing. So we skip with the tense. I will explain later. And let us have a look on the verbs. In Swahili, we are having two categories of verbs, as how I explained on my previous videos. The verbs which are from Bantu origin, I mean the verbs which are ending all with the vowel a, look, a, and the verbs which are from Arabic origin, all the verbs which are ending with the vowel e, u, and e. All the verbs which are ending with e, e, or u, then they are from Arabic origin. And also, Bantu origin verbs, they are categorized into two. Verbs which are having only one syllable, we call them monosyllabic verbs, and the non-monosyllabic verbs. And the special thing about monosyllabic verbs, these ones, they are these ones. Look here, for example, la. These ones, they cannot stand for themselves and give you the meaning. Therefore, they are always have to be accompanied with infinitive of Swahili verb, which is ku. In English, infinitive of English verbs, it is to. For example, to study, to cook, as well as in Swahili. Kula, this means to eat, or to take a meal, or to have a lunch, dinner, or wherever. And kuja, this means to come. Kupa, this means to give. And kunywa, to drink. And the rest are non-monosyllabic verbs. For example, soma, this means to read. Jifunza, this means to learn. For example, now we are learning Swahili. And the pika, this means to cook. Nunua, buy. Hitaji, need. Fikiri, think. Subiri, wait. And jaribu, try. And here I tried to write the examples on how the negative present tense works. But before we have a look on the examples, I'll give you few rules and few tips that will help you to construct a meaningful sentence in a negative way, even when you change the verb, but still you see the logic, and then you can make your own sentence. Rule number one. It is always rule number one. Use subject prefix. And because we are discussing about negative, use negative subject prefix. Rule number 2, no tense. So here, no tense, but only in present tense. Let's see on the past tense and negative future how it will be, but for now, in present tense, no tense. Rule number 3, drop ku as infinitive of Swahili verb in both verbs, in non-monosyllabic verbs and in monosyllabic verbs. Rule number 4, which is the last rule, change the last vowel from A to E. Change the last vowel from A to E. And if the verb, for example, it is from Arabic origin, you don't have to change anything. Only you have to change A into E. Let us have examples now on how it works. So rule number 1, as I told you, use negative subject prefix. So I used here si, and no ku, no infinitive of Swahili ku, which is as I explained, and change the last vowel from A to E. So silly, this means that I am not eating or I'm not taking a meal. So silly sasa. So silly sasa, this means that I'm not eating now. I am dishing. Yeah, and example number 2 is hunywi beer. So who subject prefix for you, but in a negative way, and nywa, it is drink. So hunywi beer, this means that you are not drinking a beer. You are not drinking beer. Hunywi beer. Hunywi beer. You are not drinking a beer. Example number 3 is hasomi kitabu. Hasomi kitabu. Ha, negative subject prefix for he or she. And soma, you change the last vowel from A to E. So hasomi kitab, this means that he is not reading her book, or she is not reading a book. Example number 4 is hatujifunzi Kiswahili, but we are learning Swahili. So hatujifunzi Kiswahili, this means that we are not learning Swahili. So look, hatu, this is the negative subjective prefix, and jifunza, it is learn, but remember the last rule, change the last vowel from A to E. So hatujifunzi Kiswahili, this means that we are not learning Swahili. Next example is hamhitaji kusafiri. So ham, negative subject prefix for you, but plural, so you all. And hitaji, this is need, and kusafiri, to travel. So hamhitaji kusafiri, this means that you don't need to travel. And hawasubiri daladala. Hawasubiri daladala. So hawa, negative subject prefix for they, and subiri, this is wait, and daladala, this is the small buses which they operate from one place to another place in Tanzania. If you've been in Arusha, there are these daladala which are from Tengeru to Arusha Mjini, or from Arusha Mjini or Arusha town to Sakina, Shankarai, and all over the Tanzania. So our subiri daladala, this means that they are not waiting for the daladala or the small buses. So that's how negative works. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and tell me, or construct one sentence in a negative telling me something that you want to negate. Thank you so much. Until next time. Asante sana. Kwaheri.